The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast belong solely to those expressing them and do not necessarily reflect the OSIP Foundation Incorporated or any other group or individual. This podcast may contain dialogue or subject material that could be considered for mature audiences only. All aspects of how you play the game and the OSIP Foundation Incorporated are protected by copyright and other state and federal intellectual property laws. Unauthorized use without the express written consent of the OSIP Foundation Incorporated is strictly prohibited. If you're interested in sponsoring How You Play the Game, please email us at podcast@osipfoundation.org. Your sponsorship may be tax deductible.
The audience can't see this because it's a podcast, but I'm starting the show off by laughing and breaking the fourth wall like Norman Fell from Three's Company. So... And it's only because I just told Sean a story about how my niece did that on Easter. And my niece is 5, and she doesn't know anything about this. So,
I love how specific we get.
Yes.
With our jokes. Like, probably, like, maybe... I don't know, 10 people know about Norman Fell breaking the fourth wall.
That's fine.
Maybe more than that. That's
just fine. Yeah, I mean, literally, I feel like maybe that's just the aughts at work. You know, like
and I became so dedicated to that I saved it as an animated GIF. So.
Exactly. I mean, the jokes that you and I have are so specific and so inside.
Right.
You know, like I'll give you a great example. Most people will know the meme culture of is free real estate. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Now, not everybody knows that it starts off with the following message is intended for Jim Booney only.
Right.
You know, and that's what you and I are going to do, you know?
Yeah. Most people don't know it's from Tim and Eric.
Exactly. So, I can barely program a VCR in my condo. So,
I love it.
Anyway, speaking of programming a VCR in your condo, welcome to How You Play the Game, as I laugh off camera, the official podcast of the OSIP Foundation Incorporated. Yours truly, Jack Furlong, is with you as we talked about what's going on as far as the world of sportsmanship is concerned. This is the first episode of the month of May. Man, time flying by. The year is 2025. Glad you can be with us. As always, check us out online at osipfoundation.org. Email the show using the address podcast@osipfoundation.org. On the socials, we're at facebook.com/OSIP Foundation. Almost forgot the name of the organization for a second there. X and Instagram at OSIP Foundation, hashtag How You Play the Game. Across the way from me, as always, the producer engineer, Mr. Sean Ryan. Sean, hello, how are you?
I got a new pair of glasses.
Yeah, you do. You look like a villain.
Yeah, they're semi-rimless. In fact, the only rim is at the top of the glasses, and that's it. There's no other...
Do you want me to make a crude joke about something being semi-rimless, or do you want me to make a joke about how futuristic they look?
Both.
Okay. Semi-rimless. and and you look like you just stepped out of season 2 of Andor, essentially, with those glasses. Okay, so
I still have to watch that.
Did you watch season 1?
Yes, I did.
Okay, yeah. Season 2 just premiered, and they're doing it now with like 3 episodes per week.
Okay.
And the only problem is that they're like, they're between 40 minutes and an hour each. Okay. So you got to dedicate like 3 hours to this thing.
You know what? I'm okay with that. If I fall behind, I fall behind.
Right.
But...
Like, so I didn't get a chance to watch even one episode Tuesday night when it premiered. So I wake up Wednesday, I watch the first one, and then I'm like off social media, for more than 24 hours because I don't want to be spoiled or anything. And finally, I get home last night and I watched the other 2. And I'm just like, well, I mean, it was worth it. But the fact of the matter is now I'm wired. Now it's 2 a.m. Now I gotta unwind a little bit. And then I got to get up and work and yada, yada, yada. So there's a price to pay.
I have to renew my Disney Plus subscription to watch them.
Yeah.
Because I do the old cancel the subscription when...
You don't need it.
When there's nothing Star Wars related and then re-up it.
Or as I call that, smart.
Yeah.
So how dare you use your brain, you villain?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So anyway, speaking of using brains and villainy, why don't we jump into it today?
Yeah.
All right. So today's topic occurred on Easter. Speaking of Easter. So I'm sitting back and enjoying a nice, lovely day with the family, and we are watching the Yankee game, and two things happen in that Yankee game where I'm just watching it and I'm thinking, oh yeah, this is great behavior for Easter, the day of Jesus' resurrection. Okay, got it. So the first is, if you weren't, up to date on what happened, Max Fried, pitcher for the Yankees, is essentially throwing a no-hitter. All right. In the sixth inning, there is a ground ball to first baseman Paul Goldschmidt that goes off his glove, and the official scorer rules it an error. Okay, fine, no problem. We move ahead with still no hits on the board to the eighth inning. Now, Fried comes out for the bottom of the eighth, and when we get back from commercial, there's this big announcement on TV that says, well, Max Fried just lost the no-hitter in between innings because the official scorer went back and changed that error to a hit from the sixth. Now, this set off a firestorm because people in the media, TV and radio and, social media and whatnot, were calling shenanigans to the point where it was like, you're almost like, guys, calm down. Like, I get it. Not worth going crazy about it.
Right.
Fried then proceeds to give up a base hit essentially right in the eighth inning then too. So it's like he didn't. He didn't matter one way or the other at the end of the day.
Fallacy of the predetermined outcome.
Thank you, Michael Kay, who was one of the people who was going crazy about this, by the way. And it got to the point where the Yes Network literally doxed the scorer. They take the camera and they show Bill Matthews, who's the official scorer for this game, on camera. They put up the little nameplate at the bottom, Bill Matthews, official scorer, and they start talking about the type of person he is, and like going off on like, oh, he's done this before, this, like almost treating him like he's he's an umpire. And he's essentially just a guy who drew the short straw and has to keep score that game.
Was he, with which team is he affiliated?
Well, he's affiliated with the Rays, but at the same time, keep in mind that official scoring is essentially just a thankless job where there's a rotation of people hired by teams to do it.
Right.
Where the statistics are, to a certain degree, pointless. Is it entirely pointless? No. Is there meaning to them? Yes, obviously. Okay. But at the end of the day, if the biggest statistic that matters is the win, okay, we're going crazy about this.
Yeah.
And it just rolled into this firestorm of ridiculousness where they're almost essentially what they're doing is they're saying like, let's get them, like that kind of a thing. Like, and I'm like, you guys
the pitchforks and
exactly
the
like from South Park, let's get them,
right,
right. And I'm just like, guys, it's not the end of the world. Okay.
Right.
Now, in terms of the unwritten rules of baseball and then the specific nature of this play, should it have been a hit or an error? Honestly, I don't have a problem with it being called a hit eventually. Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't think it's that absurd. I feel like in terms of preventative officiating, there was no need to change it to a hit until, wait and look after the game. And then if you want to change it, like if he threw the no-hitter, leave it alone. And if he didn't, then go back and change it.
Right.
Okay? Fine. No problem. But but scorers do this all the time. Because they're working in a fast-paced environment. Mm-hmm. And you can actually, if you follow the games on the MLB app as they go through their game day app, where they kind of like show you the strike zone and list pitch by pitch and play by play without actually like watching or listening. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it'll come up and it'll say so and so reaches first base on a ground ball to third baseman, whomever. Official score is pending.
Okay.
And you're like, okay, they haven't decided if that's a hit or an error. But the fact of the matter is, in real time, there's a runner on first base.
What makes something an error versus a hit? Is it the intent of the fielder? Like,
There are a number of different factors that can go into it. First, you're looking at the ordinary effort of the play. Then you're looking at, would this have been a hit anyway? Like if the guy did not make an error, was the effort on the part of the fielder so much that it was going beyond normal means? Was it a bad throw? Was it a drop? Was it, I'll give you a couple of examples. Ground ball in the infield where you're trying to throw the runner out at first. If the ball bounces before it reaches the first baseman and the first baseman can't come up with it, unless that runner was already at first base by the time that was happening, that's going to be an error on the fielder who threw the ball. Okay. Same situation, but it doesn't bounce. Like it hits the first baseman in the mitt and he drops it. Error on the first baseman.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
So what about with this specific example with the fielder? Like did the ball get in his glove at all, and it just popped back out?
So essentially, what happened, if you go back and watch it, Paul Goldschmidt ranged to his right. He was facing the ball, so the degree of difficulty was never anything ridiculous. Let me try that again in English. It was not anything ridiculous. It's a play that Goldschmidt will tell you he has to make, but the way it bounced and came up and hit him in the heel of the glove and how it bounced away from him, it looked like you could make a case for it to be an error. Now, that all being said, the batter runner who hit it was blazing down the line. Fast guy. He was just called up. He's been setting records in the minor leagues with stolen bases. So they called it an error at the time, and then the reason that they changed it back to a hit was because the scorer said it was apparent that the batter runner would have reached first regardless at that point because of how fast he was.
So that's even more. I mean, then if that's the argument, then what are people up in arms about?
I think the media is up in arms about the fact that that's how the no-hitter was officially lost. Now the teams.
So the no-hitter was lost then because this guy was really fast.
Right.
Basically, according to the scorer.
Right.
And since the scorer does this, for a living.
Not even really, to be honest with you. He's probably just a writer who drew the short straw and has to keep score.
Well, I mean,
but I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
He's done this before.
Right.
So it's like, I mean, I think it's one of those things where you don't realize someone does. It's one of those jobs where you don't realize someone does a good job, but you realize when they do a bad job.
Right. It's like being an umpire.
Yeah. So it's a fucking game.
Yeah.
Come on.
And then the other part of it too is if you listen to the post game, even Aaron Boone was just like, look, we see this all the time. Like he's trying to like talk it down.
Right.
And if you search, do an internet search for the scorekeeper and whatnot, and you look at some of the news items that have come up as a result of this. So, for example, from Fansided, it says Bill Matthews, race scorer who stole Max Fried's no-hitter, has done this before. And it looks, and he goes in to say that, let's see here, Yankees fans are furious at him. Let's see here. When the Rays hosted the Seattle Mariners in 2011, Felix Hernandez had given up just one hit over 8 innings. That lone hit was a controversial decision by Matthews, which gave B.J. Upton a single on a play that could have been easily scored an error. So now you've essentially got, people now going back and trying to, like find all of these problems for as if to get their pound of flesh. We have to find restitution as to why this injustice could have happened.
And these some of these headlines are written like it's like Bill Matthews, Rays scorer who stole Max Fried's
Right.
no-hitter.
Exactly.
From Fansided. Like, come on.
Right. Sports Illustrated he goes, as the Rays official scorer had a curt 4-word message on move that ended Yankees no-hitter, which was literally just, quote, "I made a decision." That's it.
It's over. It's done.
Right. So now we've got so many different aspects of sportsmanship in the media here where it's like, guys, we're really like, this is what we're doing?
And this fans the flames, right?
Right.
It just, like, okay, it's okay to be upset. It's okay to feel like, oh man, Max Fried, so close.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. And I get that. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Right.
And just move on.
Right.
There are plenty of opportunities. I mean, no-hitters don't happen very often, but, like, listen, how many have happened where, no one mentions the score then? It's like...
Yeah. The big thing where some people were comparing it to Johan Santana's no-hitter that he threw with the Mets, where a ball that landed fair was called foul by umpire Adrian Johnson. And, they didn't have replay back then. Mm-hmm. So the call stood as a foul ball. And if he had made the quote-unquote correct call, he wouldn't have thrown a no-hitter.
Right.
This is all part of baseball lore.
Right.
And if we truly value the victory, the win, as the most important statistics, then what are we doing here? Like, I know it's history. I know it doesn't happen that often. I get all of that. But could Matthews have done it a little bit better? Yeah, I'm sure he could have. Did the media make this worse? Absolutely. Just sit back and say, okay, was it an error? Yeah, fine, great, whatever. Then if Fried gives up a hit, go back and say, oh, by the way, I'm going to change that to a hit too. Done. Period. End of story.
Yeah.
But then everyone else needs to chill out.
Well, I think there's a I'm trying to word this in a way where gets my point across, but there seems to be in sports an unhealthy toxicity of superstition and ritual and magical properties surrounding certain instances that happen. Right? Like, is it great to get a hole in one? Of course. Excellent. But that, that may or may not affect your final score in golf, right? Is it great to get a perfect game? Of course. Or no hitter? Of course. Great. But again, does that affect the overall performance of the team down the line?
Right.
So we're placing such importance on these fantastical events that we forget about what, really, did they win or did they lose? I mean, that's what's going to make them advance in, towards the playoffs, right? Is the win or the loss, right? That's going to affect what their performance is. So we are sort of placing these fantastical events, which are great, and there's entertainment value for sure in them, but we have to look at the substance as well, which is the win,
right,
to be able to advance. And so I think there's a lot of misguided, misplaced feelings, and I mentioned superstitions because a lot of what's one of the superstitions where a pitcher's having a great game with no hitter,
during a no hitter, exactly, yeah,
right?
You don't talk to a pitcher during the middle of a no hitter,
keep him by himself, right? So this is what I'm talking about. Or like hats upside down to do a rally, people are so focused on that, and it's like that's not going to do anything,
right?
Right? Like it'll maybe it'll put something, maybe it'll put you in a mindset as a fan, like, oh, there's hope.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know. It just, we really have to look at what's important. And unfortunately, when you place this much importance on something magical, you are at the expense of practicality. That's bad sportsmanship.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Magic should be refrained, should be kept and contained in just the gathering. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or the Force.
Or that's that's more just Star Wars, and I prefer magic to stay out of that because of the witches from the Acolyte and all that kind of crap. You know what I'm saying?
Dathomir, yeah.
Well, no, I'm not even talking to the Dathomir witches. I'm talking about those crazy bitches.
The conclave.
Exactly.
Right. The crazy.
Those crazy bitches. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Am I going to get letters? I'm going to get letters, huh?
You're going to get letters.
Yeah, okay.
From all two of our fans.
Exactly. Them crazy bitches. Yeah. Them crazy bitches, by the way, the title of our next book from OSIP. Okay? That's not even my book. That is the organization's book. Okay.
Wow. Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Big matzo ball there.
Oh, yeah. Forward by Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matzo ball soup now.
Okay, great. I'm glad we discussed matzo ball soup. Okay. Anywho.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Breaking the fourth wall with that one, huh?
Yeah.
So the other thing today is from that same game. There was a situation where Aaron Judge hit a pitch what looked like miles out of the park down the left field line. And third base umpire Scott Barry called it foul. So they challenge, they go to replay, claiming that it was a fair ball. So they go to replay, they come back from replay, and they say the call stands. So this immediately is getting people like upset and whatnot. On the next pitch, Judge strikes out looking, at which point Aaron Boone comes out to argue with home plate umpire Adam Beck, gets tossed immediately, goes to give Beck a piece of his mind, then goes down to third base and starts yelling at Barry. You know, basically this was just an excuse to really give it to everybody he wants. That's what she said.
Bah.
And then after the game, you know, the first thing he wants to discuss is the audacity of how that call stood. And mind you, the Yankees were winning at the time. They never lost the lead, and they won the game. So instead, he wants to focus on that. Right. And I have two very, very simple explanations for it. Okay? Number one, you are in a minor league ballpark. Okay? Remember, this game is being played at George M. Steinbrenner Field, spring home of the New York Yankees, temporary home of the Tampa Bay Rays because the Trop was destroyed in that hurricane. Mm-hmm. Okay? You were nice enough as the Yankees to let the Rays use the field. This is a spring training facility that also hosts a single-A team. Okay? As a result of that, the foul poles are only 30 feet high, which is the minimum that they have to be in that stadium, as opposed to being 90 feet high as they are at Yankee Stadium. All right? Secondly, this is a minor league park. You don't necessarily have the same camera angles that you would like to have as a result of that when you go to replay. I'm sure they did the best they could.
Right.
Okay? So, in both of these scenarios, whether you want to place blame at the feet of Scott Barry, who made the initial call, or the umpires in replay who said the call has to stand, the fact of the matter is there's a reason that this probably happened. And if you're going to be that pissed off about it, talk about needing to step back and see the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, come on. Right. And you have the audacity to want to harp on that after you've already won. You secured the victory. Right. Now, are we gonna like suddenly bring this back up at the end of the season if Aaron Judge is one home run shy of breaking a record? Is that what we're gonna do? Like again, this. I mean, talk about the ridiculousness here. All of this is happening on Easter Sunday, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, a holiday that should be the highest of holy days in the Christian tradition, and yet we put it on Christmas, which theologically speaking is incorrect. Okay, just the seminarian in me coming out. But I digress. I couldn't believe it. And actually, as I'm watching this, my mom turns to me and goes, Aaron Boone is such a blanking baby. And I'm like, yeah, he is. Yeah. She goes, I can't believe that he thinks it's necessary to continue to do this. And I said, to be honest, I'm with you, because if you're getting paid a ridiculous sum of money, which you economically may deserve. I'm not trying to, inject capitalism into this or anything like that. Like it's, okay, you probably earned it. But if you're going to get paid that kind of money to entertain people by playing a kid's game, then I don't think you need the motivation to play hard. And I don't think that you need your manager to quote unquote have your back. And I don't think this type of behavior is warranted.
Right.
End of story.
Yeah.
We conveniently forget that there is this level of entertainment at the major league level that tacitly allows people to act inappropriately in the name of entertainment. And I'm just like, nope, not for me.
Right.
Not for me. What's the quote from Star Trek? With great mustache comes great responsibility. Oh no, that's Family Guy. Sorry. Yeah. See what I did there?
Yes.
So anyway, but you know what I mean? Like, come on, like we're really going to go down this path. I just have a very difficult time trying to wrap my head around. I know this is kind of like normal for someone like Boone, but holy hell.
Right.
Talk about crazy bitches.
You won the game.
Exactly.
You won the game.
Exactly.
I can sort of see like a little bit of like ire if you lost, but let it go.
Yeah.
Like you're in a spring training facility, and okay, maybe if you were at at home or on a major league field, you would be able to see the call more clearly.
Right.
And I guarantee he wouldn't have made as big a fuss about it had it been played there, because it would have been more defined.
Right.
So it's, come on, let it go.
And the other part of it too is I ran into so many people who wanted to talk about that like the day or two after. And they're all saying, oh my God, it was so fair. And I'm like, you don't know that. You had one camera angle that showed how you think to be how fair it was.
Right.
Okay. In accordance with replay standards, that's not clear and convincing. That's you seeing what you want to see. You're doing the fanboy thing.
Yeah.
Right. You got to step back here. Yeah. I'm a Yankee fan, and I saw what you saw. And I'm telling you, like I get it, but you're in a minor league park.
And it's one play.
Exactly. And you won.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, bigger fish to fry.
Right.
So.
Yeah, just so that's how I spent my Easter.
That's good.
I guess I just don't understand why we are. It's one thing to react the way that we do in the moment. We talk about this in sportsmanship all the time. It's the second reaction.
Right.
Okay. The fact,
and sometimes the third.
Right. The fact that days after, or I should say even immediately after in the post game, Aaron Boone wants to continue to harp on this. I have a bigger problem with that than I do his reaction in the moment.
Right.
I may not agree with the reaction in the moment, but I understand it. Okay. To start the post game press conference off with that is it sours childish. Me. It is. It absolutely is. And just the whole thing in general, it was a textbook example of how our priorities in sports and in life are so misguided.
Yeah.
So that's all I wanted to cover today.
Okay.
You know, like I just wish that, you know, I understand the emotions that people have in those moments. You know, you want to see a no-hitter, you want to see greatness, you want to see the home runs. Like I get all of that.
Right.
But here we are days later, and we really need to be pumping the brakes.
Right.
So,
well, we're all satisfied with we're all accustomed to instant gratification, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, we expect to see a miracle, and it's like, okay, well, you know, you might have to just wait a little bit longer, and guess what, when it actually happens, it'll be more special.
Yep.
Because it, you know, everything aligned, and it happened.
Yep.
Right. So,
because we live in this world now where anything is instantaneous at our fingertips.
right.
And just remember, it wasn't that long ago when that was not the case.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago where you had to wait 2 days to figure out what happened in that Yankee game that was on the West Coast late at night.
Yeah.
You know? So, all right. Well, that's enough.
Okay.
We're done.
Yeah.
Okay. Sean, thank you.
Of course.
And, everyone, don't forget, we got our 3rd annual OSIP celebration coming up on June the 1st.
Oh, I gotta get my tuxedo.
Yes. It is going to be 6 to 10 p.m. at the Hopewell Valley Golf Course. Couple of things. Number one, it is not a golf event. It's just at a golf course. You do not have to. You do not have to golf to be there. Now, if you golf while you're there, that's fine. But it is not a requirement.
In my tuxedo.
Right. I literally had people say to me, "I don't golf. I can't be there," and I'm like, "You're an idiot." Okay.
That's because you can't golf.
Because you can't. Yeah, exactly. There's that. Yeah.
that's
as I look off the camera and in the fourth wall. Yeah. Number two, it's not. You know, if you just have to be clothed. Like, can you not show up in in your birthday suit? Okay.
Shucks.
Yeah, I know, right? And I said this to some umpires at a meeting recently. I said, remember, we're honoring Vicki Flynn and Ellen Park at this meeting, the 2 New Jersey Assemblywomen who are trying to pass the New Jersey Penalty Box Act. And I said, they're trying to make sure that we are safe, that we are not going to get assaulted because the penalties for assault against us are going to be much higher. So it behooves us as umpires to be there to support it. So I encourage everyone else to do the same. If you can't be there and you want to donate, the best thing you can do is donate tickets. Just go online, buy the tickets in the name part, put your name, and then say not attending, donating ticket or whatever, and we'll take care of it. Because there are people who, obviously can't afford to be there that we want there. So it helps us out, And if you're one of those people, drop us a line. Let's see what we can do. Okay, we've tried to think of everything here. But we certainly hope you can join us for that. Go to osipfoundation.org/celebration to get your tickets and to learn more. Now that I have shamelessly plugged that, we will start to wind the show down. Remember to check us out at osipfoundation.org. The email address for this show is podcast@osipfoundation.org. Facebook.com/OSIPFoundation, X and Instagram @OSIPFoundation, hashtag how you play the game. Celebration link is osipfoundation.org/celebration. Buy your tickets, get to the celebration. Celebration. Is it Cool in the Gang who sang that? Okay, good. Now that I've done that, we're good. Okay, well, we'll talk to everybody in just a few short weeks. And until then, treat each other with respect.
How You Play the Game is a production of the OSIP Foundation, Incorporated. The producer-engineer of this episode is Sean Ryan. Music by Soundspring Studio. The executive producer of How You Play the Game is Jack Furlong. For more information, visit osipfoundation.org.